Hello and welcome back to CQ, the AWS Certification Quiz Show, where I'm here today with Reese, who's going to go through our first Sysops episode of Season 2. Reese, tell us a bit about what you do here at AWS.
Thanks, MJ. Thanks for having me. I'm an enterprise account. Yeah, I'm an enterprise account manager with AWS. Been with AWS for 3 years, 3 months. Before that, I was a technical account manager.
So not only are you our first salesperson on
Yes.
CQ, Reese,
Yep.
you've made the switch from tech to sales. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. But so previously I was a enterprise support, technical account manager. So working with some of our enterprise customers in the UK and Australia. And yeah, just recently moved across to the sales team to help our enterprise customers in Queensland, Australia.
Awesome, it's so good to have you here. Tell us a bit about your certification journey, because you are certified.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. So I had actually Sysops was my first.
Was it really?
My first certification. Yep. Maybe like 5 years ago.
So has it run out? Do you need to get recertified?
No, it's still good, I think. Then I've got Solution Architect Associate, Solution Architect Professional, Developer Associate, and then DevOps Engineer.
Just listen to that.
Yeah.
All those name drops.
Yeah, so it's been a long kind of journey and really enjoyable.
So today's show should be pretty easy for you, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see.
You ready to get into it?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
Oh, actually, wait. Where are we today? Where is your choice?
So we're in sunny London. So
it's so sunny.
Very beautiful. So this is in the background, Tower Bridge behind us, which is a really nice landmark. And I actually used to live close to here
There's the connection.
Yeah, about 500 meters away. So beautiful part of the world.
So did I, funnily enough.
There you go.
Wow, okay.
Neighbours.
Who knew? It took us here. Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's
Question
go.
1 of the day.
Let's
see how our first salesperson does on CQ.
Fingers
All
crossed.
right, CLI. Reese, you wish to obtain the public IP address of all Amazon EC2 instances in your AWS account that are running on the Windows operating system. How can you do this using the AWS CLI?
Okay.
Oh, nice easy start for you, right?
Yeah, good one. All right, so we want to find the public IP address of our Amazon EC2 instances. They're running Windows, and we want to use this via the CLI. So
what is the AWS CLI? Let's start there.
The CLI is installer package that you can use to access all AWS services, so all the APIs. So if you want to access the EC2 service, then you can use the AWS CLI, just install it on your local machine, set your credentials via infrastructure, IAM, so Identity Access Manager. There we go. And and then you can, access those services. So
okay.
if we want to get the public IP address, I think, so the first one, they use filter for IP address and query for operating system. So I think filter, once you've got the output, just you can drop what you don't want and you get what you do want. And then output, the third question there, filter and output. It just tells you kind of how to output it to the console.
Okay.
So I think what we're really after here is you want to find the IP address, the public IP address. So I'd probably use query for that first, and then I wouldn't. Number 4, query and output, I probably don't want. You want to filter it just for Windows operating systems.
Yep.
So I would probably go with number 2 there. Use query for IP addresses to get all the public IP addresses, and then filter based on those EC2 instances that are running Windows as opposed to Linux.
So you're saying query is the what, filter is the which,
and
that'll get us to where we need to be.
Yep, exactly.
Don't mind me just paraphrasing you a little bit there.
That's fine. Yeah,
going with number 2.
Go with number 2.
Everyone's gone against you on our online poll for our first question.
Okay, well, is that because I'm the sales guy? Is that
Maybe it is. Maybe that's exactly what it is, Reece.
Don't trust the sales
But
guy.
let's get you a bit of a, hopefully kudos by revealing if it is the right answer.
Okay.
My mistake, it should be filters plural.
2, it is.
My mistake, it should be filters plural.
Quick adjustment by producer John. Filters should be plural. Thank you, John. Let's move on to question 2.
Awesome.
You're
One
off
from
to a
one.
winning start. One
There we
for
go.
one.
Okay.
We got you a bit of kudos. Let's move
Hopefully
on.
the audience
Hopefully
like
they'll start listening to you now.
comes around. Yeah.
A bit of security. Are you ready for it, Reece?
Okay. Job 0.
Here we go. A web application has been used to run business critical activities.
Mm-hmm.
You wish to protect the application and its APIs against application layer 7 DDoS attacks.
Yeah.
Which combination of services can provide this protection?
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. I guess we'll kind of start with, what is DDoS? So
Awesome.
DDoS is distributed denial of service. So if you think someone nefarious trying to overload your application or system, so if you think, an analogy might be you've got like a door into an entrance to a building or something like that, and usually you get a stream of people coming and going, which are your normal requests. A distributed denial of service or a DDoS attack would be like hundreds of people trying to get in who aren't meant to be getting into that building, and they're preventing the normal people from getting in. So if you think of the people as packets or requests, then that's kind of what a DDoS attack does. And
So overwhelms the server.
yeah. So we want to prevent that from happening. So this is saying like, how do we do that with a web app? That's running our business critical activities.
Yep.
So if we go through the questions, combination of services, so security groups, security groups at the resource level, so that'd be at the EC2 instance of this example. You set them inbound and outbound rules in terms of allow or deny from source IP and also from what protocol and that type of thing.
Okay.
So it's really going to tell you like who can access and from where and that type of thing. The network ACLs is at the access control list is at the subnet level. So it's more kind of broad-based rules there.
So we're getting rid of number 1.
Yeah, I don't think number 1. Route 53, so that's managed DNS service. It does come with what we call Shield, which is our DDoS protection, but I think what we're looking at here is for business critical type of activities, so we kind of want something more than that.
Okay.
And Global Accelerator can use that to help upload data into AWS, into S3. WAF and AWS Shield Advanced, so that's definitely what you want to use with WAF, so Web Application Firewall, used for Layer 7 protection, so you can have IP-based rules or content-based rules and things like that, so it's managed rule sets and things like that, which is really useful. And Shield Advanced is our managed DDoS response team, as well as some advanced kind of metrics and alarms based on what type of attacks that we're seeing, if you're seeing any attacks against your application. So that's actually sounded pretty good, but I'll just go to number 4.
You should know all about this one, right?
Yeah, so this is my previous role, my previous life, so enterprise support. So it's a service that we provide to our customers if they want to take it up. And with enterprise support, it's really about programs and people and also kind of tooling.
Okay.
So the people side is really technical account managers and senior cloud support engineers and those type of things. So basically embedded within customers' teams, and they're the voice of the customer internally. So I was a technical account manager, really close with my customers, and kind of help them in terms of how they architect their applications and how they do cost savings and how they do launches and
so
go
it's more
lives.
holistic.
Yeah. So it's you're really an extension of the customer's team in terms of feeding back information to the service teams and things like that around feature requests and things like that. It's really a rewarding role.
So it sounds like you're leaning towards number 3.
Yeah. But I just want to talk on the infrastructure event management. So that's kind of a part of enterprise support.
And some people have gone for this answer on online.
Number 4, so infrastructure event management is good for like go lives or like marketing campaigns. If you're doing a big launch on AWS and you need to make sure that everything's fine from a capacity and from service limits and checking your load testing and making sure that an event can't fail. So it's something that we offer with enterprise support and also to our business support customers at a bit of a cost as well.
Nice.
But yeah, so for this one, I'm probably leaning more towards WAF and Shield Advanced purely because it's web app, it's layer 7, it's WAF, and you wanted to protect against DDoS, Shield Advanced, and it's business critical. So for those business critical apps, I'd definitely recommend Shield Advanced.
Locking in number 3?
Yeah, 3.
Let's do it. Most people agreed with you on this one.
Okay, good. That's good.
And number 3 it is, of course. Thank you, Reese. Let's move on to question number 3. CloudFormation.
Okay.
Pretty familiar?
Yeah. Infrastructure as code. Yeah.
All right, Reese, you are creating an Amazon CloudFormation template to deploy application resources in AWS.
Okay.
The stack will deploy a VPC, Amazon EC2 instance, and an Amazon RDS database.
Yep, cool.
How can you ensure that the Amazon RDS database is created before the Amazon EC2 instance is launched?
Yep.
Very
cool.
important.
Yeah, so...
Oh, and actually quick shout out to Karthik in the Sydney office for helping us with this question.
Thanks, Karthik. Cheers. CloudFormation infrastructure as code, so you can deploy what you want on AWS in a repeatable manner, version controlled, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's awesome. Definitely do that. So what we're trying to do here is we've got like a simple kind of, two-tier application with an EC2 instance and RDS database in a virtual private cloud, a VPC. So what we want to do is make sure the database is created before the application server, or the web server can connect to that database. It's a pretty common use case. So I would, looking at the questions, number 2, there's not layers with CloudFormation. So we've got stacks, so nested stacks. So you can have a CloudFormation stack within a CloudFormation template within a CloudFormation template as a stack.
But there's no such thing as layers.
No such thing as layers.
Okay.
So that's
a bit of a distractor there.
There we go, distractor. Yep. That's what that is. Number 3. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you put it in the template. You can write the EC2 instance in the first 20 lines and the database in the lower 40, and it's not going to matter. It's going to CloudFormation's just going to try and launch those at the same time. So that's not going to work. Add a condition statement. So condition statements are for if you want to launch X amount of resources in a particular environment. So you want to launch like 2 if it's in test and 20 if it's in production. So that's kind of where that fits. I don't think that's the right one. Depends on is definitely the one I'll go on. So you say the EC2 resource that you're going to launch depends on the RDS database being complete. So
happy with number 1?
Yeah, number 1. So
are you even more happy knowing that everyone online has agreed with you? And we're
now
that we're on question 3, 3 questions in.
Safety in numbers, yeah.
Awesome. Can you adjust your mic up? We're struggling to hear you online a bit.
Sorry.
Point it upwards. This
Up
side.
here? Oh, there we go.
There we go. Thanks for letting us know.
Thank you.
Online. Locking in number 1?
Yep, number 1. Depends on.
Of course,
awesome.
Number 1 it is. Moving on to question number 4.
Cool.
An Amazon EC2 instance is in a private subnet of an Amazon VPC. The instance is running Amazon Linux 2. You wish to log into the instance to update some software. How can you log in to this instance?
Yeah, okay. So I'd probably pick out a few things from this question. So private subnet, that's obviously important. Amazon Linux 2. So let's have a look at the answers. Connect via EC2 instance connect. Maybe I'll just go park that one. AWS Systems Manager, Session Manager.
Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, so Systems Manager, Session Manager allows you to kind of connect to EC2 instances without connecting over SSH or RDP. So you just use, there's an agent installed on the instance, and then you have a role as well, an IAM role, which is on that EC2 instance, so that you can connect to the sessions manager service, session manager service, and then you can access that instance securely. So that's looking pretty good. SSH number 3, SSH with the key pair when the instance was launched. So why I don't think this is going to be a good one is because it says private subnet and not public subnet. So if this isn't a public subnet, I might be going, but no. And the 4th one says RDP. So RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, that's for Windows. So it's Amazon Linux too. So it's pretty sure it's not that one. And EC2 Instance Connect. So
it's good for lockdown corporate networks,
right?
right?
Yeah. So if you don't have SSH and you connect over the web, so that's for that one. But I think Systems Manager, Session Manager. That's probably the one I'm going to go for. That one.
Least amount of votes.
Yeah. Is that because it's the name? Is that why?
I think it's just too much for the
AWS Systems
Maybe
Manager.
we can send off a ticket and like rename this one.
Maybe. Good luck.
But we're locking it in, and I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
Of course, it is indeed number 2. 4 Reese, you're doing awesome.
Doing great.
I'm
we
already
just stop
on.
There? Yeah.
Have some water, and I'll read you your next question. All right. Should we jump into our tip of the week?
Tip of the
week? Are you ready to give our viewers a bit of a certification tip? Seeing as you've got so many that you've rattled off at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, it's very professional.
I like it. So I would probably say the best thing you can do when you're preparing for an exam is to read the blueprint, which is on the online. So every exam's got like an exam blueprint. So read it.
We'll get the link popped in the chat for you.
Yeah, and do what it says. So
it's a great tip.
Sounds pretty simple, but a lot of them will say, give you lists of white papers, AWS white papers to read.
And they're great.
Yeah.
They're actually really, really good.
Yeah, so read them and understand them. And if you don't understand them, just Google a little bit and find out. And then second tip, can I give 2 tips?
I suppose so.
Would be just get into the console, create your free tier account and just start learning.
Playing.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Get hands-on.
Got it. Thanks, Reese.
Cool.
Ready for question number 5?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Back to security. While investigating an application outage, you discover a critical Amazon EC2 instance is in stopped state. How can you discover who or what stopped this instance?
Yeah, this is it's a pretty kind of common thing.
Yeah, you're smiling, so you obviously recognise the scenario.
Yeah, well, previously as a TAM, you'd hear that from your customers as well. My instance stopped. Why did it stop? Who stopped it?
Okay.
So that's pretty much exactly what this question is. So review the EC2 auto scaling history. So if it was EC2 instance in an auto scaling group, it's not going to stop that EC2 instance. It's going to terminate it if it does a scaling down.
Okay.
Operation. So it's not going to be stopped anyway. So that one's a bit of a furphy.
The next answer is got 100% of the votes at the minute.
Okay.
CloudTrail.
CloudTrail. Yep. That's so CloudTrail is our service for auditing all of your API calls. So most of our services are supported by CloudTrail, and once you enable it, you can log those CloudTrail events to an S3 bucket. So this is highly recommended for all accounts, and then you can go back through and search those later. Config. So config instance history is going to kind of tell you the change between stopped and started, but I don't think it's going to tell you who did it.
Okay, got it. So they'll give you the history of what's happened, but minus the who.
Yeah, so if you're like detaching a volume or you're changing an instance type or something like that, that's where configs is pretty good.
Cool.
And search for messages in Amazon CloudWatch logs. So CloudWatch logs you can use to send your application logs to. And then you can do searching, you do metrics on that, alarming. It's quite powerful. But it's not going to tell you who stopped this.
So pretty easy, this one. We've gone back to, we should have started with this question.
Yeah. Security. It's really important. Yeah, definitely CloudTrail, number 2. Look for that.
Locking in, number 2, still 100%, even with your explanation. So no one changed their vote.
Awesome.
Number
you can
2,
change your vote?
Well, no, actually you can't.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute.
Let's move on to question number 6, networking.
Yeah, okay.
You good with this?
Yeah.
A little bit more hesitant. Let's see how we go. An application on an Amazon EC2 instance frequently copies large quantities of information between Amazon S3 and external web services on the internet.
Okay.
Users are complaining that the copy operation is slow. What can you do to improve the speed of this data copying process?
Yep, okay. So we're copying from an instance to S3. Between S3 and a web service on the internet. So we're copying to the internet from our instance. So I guess the most important part here to know is that EC2 instances, depending on the size of the instance, will have a certain network performance. So go from low to moderate to high and to 10 gigabits per second and more. We've got instances with 100 gigabit per second networking now, so for your kind of high performance computing needs. So yeah, I would definitely be looking at the size of the instance. ENI type, so we've got different ENIs, so elastic ENA, elastic fabric adapter I think as well, we've got as well. Jumbo packets.
What's a jumbo packet, Reese?
So it's more data within a packet basically. So you change the size of the MTU there. I don't think that's going to work because it's not within the VPC. We're copying to the internet. And a placement group. So placement groups, there's a couple of different types, but the main placement groups are for, like I said, the high performance kind of computing, keeping instances close to each other, so then you can launch them in a placement group, and AWS will try and place them either within the same host or within a host, maybe in the same rack or similar kind of location, so that you get low network kind of, just better networking performance. But there's also placement groups where you have spread placement groups, so you can have them within the same availability zone, but distance apart, just in case there's failures, because everything fails all the time, as our CTO says, Werner Vogels. So yeah, I'd probably go with the instance type here, the size, change the instance type, make it bigger from a T2 small to maybe like a M5 large or something.
Awesome. Let's see if we're 6 for 6.
Okay.
Yes, almost there. That was a big sigh. Come on, we're going easy on you.
Killing it.
RDS, all right.
All right.
An application is using Amazon Aurora for PostgreSQL. I can't even. SQL database. The application is working fine when running reports, but when it tries to process a transaction, it receives the error "cannot execute insert in a read-only transaction." How can this be corrected?
Okay, yeah, so I guess we'll talk about Aurora a bit. So Aurora is our service for MySQL and Postgres databases. So it's highly available by default, so it's across multiple availability zones. And what we've done is we've architected it so the compute and the storage are kind of separate, so you can scale the compute as you need and the storage as you need as well. So very high performance database, so it's available for RDS. So what we're looking at here is a Postgres database for Aurora that's, when it's processing a transaction, it says it can't insert into a read-only transaction. So it's a problem with writing.
So read-only being the important call out here?
Yeah. So there's no read-only, that first option, there's no read-only mode, so that's nothing. The endpoint to the writer node, that does work. So Aurora's got both a writer node and a reader node, so you can have your applications which are, like I said, when it's running a report, that's just a read operation from the database. So that's working fine.
Yep.
So I'd probably say that this application is doing both writes and reads to the reader endpoint, to the reader node, sorry. Auto commit, obviously once you've don't run any of your transactions, you've got a commit with SQL, but that's not relevant here. And database backups, so that's not going to impact. We just do those in the back end. It's not going to impact the operations like these transactions. So I would say number 2, change the endpoint to the writer node.
100%. Green with you again.
Green, yeah.
I think we just gone too easy on you.
Yeah, well,
we're going to have to make them more difficult.
Well, yeah, this is like Sysops, right? So
it's your specialty.
It's my thing.
Locking in number 2, as is everyone on the line.
Oh.
Number 2 it is.
Awesome.
Final question of the day, and then you're done.
Okay.
You ready?
Home stretch.
VPC. You have an Amazon VPC with Amazon EC2 instances behind a network load balancer spread across 2 public subnets.
Okay.
How should you restrict access so that the EC2 instances are only accessible from the internet on port 80 and port 443?
Yep, okay, so port 80 HTTP, port 443 HTTPS. Well, there's a lot of security groups here, and either security group or EC2 instance or security group and load balancer. So it's just like the combination here. I think, go back to the question, have a look. It says it's an EC2 instance behind a network load balancer. So that's just a kind of layer 4 load balancer. So you can't put a security group on a NLB. So that's not going to work.
There we go, yep.
So it's not number 2. It's not number 4. So
most people are going for number 4 on the chat.
The EC2 instances and the so it could only be number 1 because you can't put the security group on an NLB. Number 1, I'm locking it in.
He wants to be done. Locking in number 1. We had a few people vote for number 1. Number 1 it is. Reese, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for taking me back to
showing everyone that
London,
sales guys can do the show as well. So we'll have to get a few more of you on in the future.
Yeah, do so. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me, Andrew.
Very welcome. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We will see you next week. And I think we're having our first look at Cloud Practitioner. See you then.
Bye.